trying to look down, maybe. I don't know. Sorry, I have a ring light and I wear glasses. I'm normally a glasses wearer. And so I'm trying to figure out a way to be able to do videos while wearing glasses. I don't really know how to fix this right now. So it's just going to look like I have a giant circle eyeball. I tried to record this video on camera, and I'm usually I wear glasses usually, and I have a ring light now, but glasses and ring light combined makes me look like an alien cyborg, and I have a very small recording space, so I can't just move this light anywhere. I don't even know who this video is for. I don't know who needs to hear this, but it feels like someone should be saying it, and nobody is, so once again, I volunteer.
I volunteer as tribute!
Because there's a fundamental truth to the nature of this reality that I feel like has either been forgotten, or it's being overlooked, or it's being purposefully ignored right now. And it's simply this: every single one of our brains resides in its own personal movie theater. There are no other brains in that movie theater. Only your brain observing your version of reality in that movie theater. There are things we can agree on and disagree on, but one of the things has to do with perspective. Nobody can go inside someone else's brain movie theater and enforce a perspective in there that if that person doesn't want to see, they're not going to see that perspective. You cannot go inside someone else's brain in their brain movie theater and play a movie on it that you want them to watch. This is not Clockwork Orange. And there's so many people right now fighting over this as if it's something that can actually be done, and it can't. The truth is, at least not without violating some very basic principles of human rights. You cannot violate that. Okay? And I don't know why that needs to be said right now, but I feel like it does. I mean, we're not talking heads in jars like in Futurama, but figuratively speaking, it's a little bit something like that. We as people can never see ourselves the way that anyone else does. Ever. Ever. You never can. You literally cannot ever see yourself the way that anyone you know sees you. You can get your entire family to come into the room, your mom, your dad, your significant other, your siblings, your best friend, your neighbor, the mailman, just get everyone, bring them all in the room, and they can tell you what you look like in their eyes, and you can imagine it through their description. But if your brain went into their brain's movie theater, you would see 10 different versions of yourself, and none of them, I guarantee, probably none of them would look anything like what you think you look like. It just wouldn't. It would be distorted, or it would be maybe better than you think you look, or it might be hideous compared to what you think you look like, but it wouldn't look like you. It would look like, a made-for-TV movie where they cast someone to be you, probably. That's what I imagine it as anyways. And there's a program that runs in your mind, and that program is like a snowflake. It's unique to you and you alone. It's based on what you were told growing up, what your family and friends taught you about life and yourself and your place in the world, what school taught you, what media taught you, the television said to you, the internet. This grab bag of information is what informs the construction of your reality, is all of this stuff. And what you decide to keep and what you decide to ignore, it's all going into the construction of the movie that's playing in the movie theater that your brain is in, basically, right? And so you can agree with people, but even twins, identical twins who were born and live together in the same house and have most all of the same exact experiences, don't have the same brain. They literally don't. There may be a lot of similarities. It may be very, very close, but it's still not exactly the same. They don't have the same brain interpreting sense data that creates perceptions. And I don't know where this idea is coming from that you or I or anyone has control over someone else's perception, right, of me or you. It's an illusion to think that such a thing even exists, okay? You can do everything you can to present yourself a certain way to the world, right? How you carry yourself and your manners and treating others the way you want to be treated. But the control that you have over someone else's perception of that, it ends about right there, okay? You can't climb inside their brain and make them think about you the way you want them to. They either do or they don't. They either decide to or they don't. And if that person still decides they hate you and they just want to hate on you and be a horrible person to you no matter what you do, there is nothing that you could really do about it. You know, there's no law that can be passed to make them see you the way you want them to. There's no law that can do that. That's not a thing. That doesn't exist. I don't know why this needs to be said. It seems so simple to me, and yet I see every day these ideas that we're going to do that, and we're not. Society is not doing that. That's never going to be a thing. If you find somebody because of something like that, at the end of the day, all you did was piss them off more and probably entrench whatever negative attitude they had even further about those people or that person or whatever it is, right? Because the fine doesn't change the switch in their brain. It doesn't flip a switch in their brain that's like, oh, click, I respect you now. Like, no, it doesn't. What it does is you find somebody and then the state got richer. That's it. The apparatus got richer. That person still probably hates on whoever it is or dislikes them or thinks they suck or whatever it is. That person is going to see the other person however they want to. And a fine is not going to change that. It's not going to change it. It just isn't. I've seen videos of people saying, you will respect me. No, it doesn't work that way. Like it just doesn't. You can't tell someone else what they will do in terms of respecting you or not because you're not in their brain. You're not controlling their neurons. And if you are, is that even real respect anyway? I mean, if you're mind controlling someone to respect you, even at that level, like let's say we go full on technocratic Black Mirror with this whole thing and we just start making people wear bucket helmets to make them respect other people, right? Just slap that on there and like it's got a blinky light coming out of the top and like, I respect you now. But they don't though, do they? Because even at that level, you're having to control them to make them do something they would not do on their own. Is that real respect at that point? Or is that just some kind of Orwellian nightmare?
Who can stop me now?
It's like that experiment where a teacher tells a whole class to draw a picture of something a little sophisticated like a horse, right? 30 people could be sitting in a class, take out a piece of paper, we're all going to draw a horse. Most people know what a horse looks like. And everyone has different abilities and skills with drawing, though. And by the time you get a picture of a horse from all 30 people, you're going to have 30 different looking horses. They're all going to probably vaguely resemble a horse, but they're all going to be different. They're not going to be the same. You're going to have 30 pictures of the exact same horse. It's going to look different to different people. Same with colors. People perceive colors differently. I think we've all learned that lesson with the dress. My daughter claims that she can see colors that don't exist. She's an artist and she goes to the store to buy certain pencils to do her drawings and stuff. And she said there are colors that she knows about that she can't find that pencil. They don't sell it. So what does that mean, So everyone's perception's different, including everyone's perception of you being different from your perception of yourself. And the truth is all we ever see of ourselves is our own reflection. You don't even see yourself in that way. You see a mirror image of yourself at best, or what a camera films of you. So you're already multiple layers out from actually seeing yourself the way that others can see you, right? And your brain, before you look into a mirror, is already concocting a story about the way you will see yourself before you even look into that mirror. It's a recipe for how you'll see yourself, and it's based on a lot of other things that have nothing to do with your actual physical reflection. What you've been told about yourself all your life, what society's told you about beauty standards or what's cool or what's not cool, how you happen to be feeling that morning. And that's just to name a few things. I get up sometimes and I feel like total crap. And I say to Aaron things like, I feel like crap today. I probably look like it too. And he's like, I don't see that. He doesn't see it. Whatever he's seeing is better than whatever I'm seeing of myself. And sometimes I wish I could just take his brain and put it in my brain so I could see myself through his eyes because it's probably way better than what I see sometimes. I am very hard on myself. But it changes based on your mood. It changes based on your attitude. It changes based on all kinds of things that, again, have nothing to do with physically what you actually look like. Nothing. And my parents were hippies, and they have lots of stories, which was actually very cool, but growing up. But one of the stories that I was told was about an acid trip that happened back in the good old 70s. And the person in the story, I'm not going to say who it is, but they were looking into the mirror and it was like their age was on a dial that was just going up and down, and they could see themselves get really, really old and then get really, really young, like it's a Benjamin Button, like they were just going up and down, you know. And they got to the point in doing this where they could actually think to themselves, I'm older, and they would see themselves older. I'm younger, and they would see themselves younger. It was almost like a level of control to it at a certain point. So, I mean, it kind of makes you wonder about age. It kind of makes you wonder about how we age and how much our mindset of age plays into our physical age and what we actually look like. People I've known for 10 years, and they tell themselves they're old. They tell themselves that. I've heard them say it. And they're our age and they look older than us. Is it because they're telling themselves that? I have to wonder. Like, I don't know. But maybe that's just my perception that they look older because they constantly say how old they feel and they tell us they're old all the time. And so maybe it plays into somehow the actual perceptions that we have. I don't know. I don't know. I don't think we really know how all this works, not with any certainty. I think there's a lot more to it than just the physical bottom line of things. I think a lot of this world is unseen, and we don't talk about that stuff enough. We're living in a time that seems characterized by this tyranny of being able to enforce perspective on someone. I'm talking about a super basic base level of physically what is going on here in terms of perspective. And there's no way to make someone see you the way that you see you. That is not possible. You know, it just isn't. They're always going to see something. Everyone sees something different. Everyone can be looking at the exact same thing and they will all see something slightly different because we are all different. And the lens that we are looking through here with our brain and our eyeballs, it's different for every single person. You don't even know what another person sees when they look at you. You don't even know what that is. You never will. Unless they create some kind of brain swapping technology, you will never know what another person thinks of you when they see you. They can only describe it to you. That is the best you can do. And then you have to imagine it through their description. And it's going to be really hard for you to do that without being biased to your own self that you've been looking at in the mirror every day for your whole life. So enforcing a perspective on somebody else is not possible. And it's a simple fact, but I feel like it's being forgotten, and all of these people are fighting with each other. And there's just not a world where you can require someone else to reflect back to you, okay, what you want them to about you. The only thing you can do is control your own perspective of yourself. That's the only thing you really have any control over at all, is how you view yourself and what goes into the recipe that you use to look at yourself. That is the only thing you got. That's the only thing that you can do. So beauty truly is in the eye of the beholder. And I first learned that from watching The Twilight Zone. And I feel like maybe everyone should probably watch The Twilight Zone again right now, like the whole series, because we're not only living in it.
What you're about to watch in this room is a strange mortal combat between a man and himself.
But it's incredibly useful guidance for like how to deal with all this bullshit, okay?
No logic, no reason, no explanation. Just a prolonged nightmare.
So the beauty's in the eye of the beholder, and that eye is gamed by just an untold number of factors that have nothing to do with beauty or even the beholder half the time, or the eye, or how the eye physically works. So in the end, you've got to just try to get your own mirror right. Anyways, I love you guys. This is not really like, it's just something I felt like I had to say. Aaron's working on a video next, and that one's got a bunch of research and stuff. This is just me ranting. So I'll talk to you guys later.